Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the PNW Car Mods YouTube channel, as they say. So we've made the command decision that we're gonna go ahead and take off the titanium Z06 Axleback exhaust system. We're gonna go ahead and put the Corsa Sport catback back on here. My son's been pestering me for almost a month now. Dad, we need to put the Corsa exhaust back on here. And I kind of knew all along that I agreed. It doesn't sound the way that I would like it to sound, and there's some certain noises that it makes inside the cabin that I don't really care for. It's kind of like drone, but a little bit different. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. Basically what I want to try and do is show what it takes to get the titanium axle back out of one of these cars without cutting it. You have to lift the car up very high to do this. I've already done it once, but I didn't really film it, so this will be a little bit more proper. There's several ways you can do it. I'm going to do it using my quick jacks. The topic comes up on the forums often, if you can get the axle back out with just quick jacks alone, and the standard blocks that come with them, and the answer is no, it doesn't go high enough. You can, however, lift the car up a little bit higher in stages using jack stands and some additional blocks. This can be done safely. You just got to be careful working on the car. Don't shove the thing off the jacks. But yeah, don't be that guy. There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of these titanium exhaust systems that have been ruined over the years because guys get impatient or frustrated and they just cut the pipes. And realistically, once you cut those pipes, that exhaust system will never be the same. And good luck finding somebody that'll touch welding them back together. So that's enough jibber jabbering. Let's get this car up in the air. Got the car up in the air, and right now we are at 27 inches from the floor to the bottom edge of the muffler can, or the muffler body. So we got the over the axle pipes here. These are what the complication are for trying to get these mufflers out of the car. So your 2-bolt flange is right here, and you got to get this pipe over the axle. So you unbolt that, and then you can slip the hanger out. You don't need to unbolt this hanger up here. You can just slip the muffler out of it. Then once that is done, the key to getting these mufflers out is turning them sideways, so that basically the muffler is going to be hanging down to the ground vertically, if that makes sense. And you can slip the pipe out from over the axle. So I'll show that here in a minute. I might have to get a light too because it's kind of dark in here. We've removed our 2 bolts from the flange for the right hand muffler. I'm going to try and save these gaskets. Use a little scraper or putty knife to split that. I mentioned this in another video, but I always use red RTV or high temp RTV on those flanges. Resist the urge to torque the hell out of those flanges to try and keep them from leaking, because all you do is bend them and warp them. So we are free. Let's see if this is gonna work. So when I did this the first time, I had a lot more stuff taken apart on the car. Okay, so I didn't want to have to do this, but I have to do this. We've got to take the sway bar down. I don't think the sway bar has to come out, but it's got to come loose off the cradle. So give me a minute to unhook that and we'll... To get the sway bar down, you got to take the lower control arm bolt nut off here, and then there's a bolt. These are 18 millimeter, 15 millimeter head on this side. You will have to hold that with a wrench. So, whoops. Literally just fold that down out of the way. And let's have another crack at this. Hopefully y'all are somewhat to where you can see. I always run my camera on the wide angle, like super sporty mode. It may look kind of funny, but it makes sure that more of what's going on can be seen. This is where the try not to scratch this stuff up. Well, unfortunately, it's looking like we've got to go even higher. Probably another 2 to 3 inches. So I'm gonna go grab some more wood and my taller jack stands, and we'll get this set up. Okay, boys and girls, this is getting to the point of maybe being a little bit sketchy. You can see how much timber I got underneath of this thing to get this car up this high. The locking bars are down. It's more stable than you would think it is, but you could easily shove this thing right off the blocks if you really wanted to. So my words of encouragement are get these mufflers unhooked while it's still on the quick jacks normally. And don't get underneath the car when it's sitting up there like this. So I'm gonna see if I can snake this muffler out of here now. We've got another 3.5 inches of clearance. Can't emphasize enough. Be safe. This is about as close as I'm comfortable to getting underneath of this thing. I think this is going to be enough. So with it up that high, I think it'll just roll out of there. Not even have to turn it sideways. Or we can just turn it sideways. Have I mentioned the part about being careful yet? Please be careful. So as a point of reference, the cradle is approximately 26.5 inches from here to the floor to get that muffler out of there. So I'm going to shore this car up some more and get the other 2 bolts taken out of the right hand, or the driver's side 2-bolt flanges, get that muffler out, and then we'll get the new ones snaked up in there. So here's the TI system out of the car. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I disliked it enough that I can't bring myself to spend the money on doing the titanium bypass mod that goes from here to here. It's too much money for a gamble. So we're going to put the trusty old Corsa system back in there. This is what I've had on the car since I got it. And if you'll notice, I have the tips cut off of there. So got a little surprise for that. We're getting rid of the 1997 vintage single wall crappy looking tips that Corsa used back then and going to a double wall. So kind of the purpose of this video was to get the titanium exhaust out without cutting it. So if you have a coupe or a convertible and you have the regular steel exhaust system in there, my recommendation would be to just cut the axle pipes off. Cut them off right here. Take that out. And then if you were going to buy a Corsa or one of the other brands of Axlebacks, the over the axle pipes are disconnectable right here. So you don't have to do all this crazy lifting the car 14 feet up in the air to get the exhaust out. So I'm going to set these back in position without undoing this. I'm just going to put them back in the way they are and get them bolted up. And then we'll take a look at the exhaust tip situation real quick. Here's the 90s style Corsa tips that were on the Axleback. Somebody had actually taken the time before me to plasta dip these black to kind of camouflage them, which they did kind of a shitty job, but it worked. I actually liked them better black than polished. Those are gone. So here's what I found to replace them. Stainless steel, black coated, double wall. The trick to finding tips for a Corvette is they've got to be super short. I've seen people try and do replacement tips on various exhausts over the years, and I've seen them like, people will have them like coming all the way out to here. And it's like, no, that looks terrible, especially from the side profile. Now, granted, these aren't lined up. They're just sitting on there. I think that's going to look totally badass. I know some people aren't into the blacked out thing, but I like black stuff, so it works for me. I'm sure there will be somebody in the comments saying, you didn't show putting the axle back in. And I'm like, well, first of all, it goes in the exact same way the other ones came out, just in the opposite. And if you buy yourself a Corsa exhaust system, it's going to come out of the package with the over the axle pipes not connected to the mufflers anyway, so you're not going to have to put the car 28 feet up in the air. So we got our gaskets gooped up with a little RTV. These bolts are all torqued, so everything's good there. And I don't know about the new Corsa systems, but this old Corsa setup, it's like bang on every time. Mufflers are level, tailpipes are level. Super huge pet peeve of mine when I see a really nice C5 Corvette and the exhaust tips are all jacked up on it, which is more common than you would think. And some guys just don't care, but it's like, holy crap, dudes, take some pride in your car. So, yeah, I got the sway bar put back on, if anybody's wondering. Top bolts are 50 foot-pounds, bottom bolts for the control arm are 70 foot-pounds. So that's pretty much going to be it for the how to put an exhaust system or an Axleback on your C5 Corvette. I'm going to go ahead and get these tips welded on, or at least tacked on. I'm not going to fully weld them because there's no reason to. You actually want to be able to make them so you can take them off without making a huge mess out of the deal. So get those welded on, and then I'll do a lovely little cold start, and we'll go on from there. New exhaust tips are on, welded 3 spots each, and I'll say booger welded at that. Working underneath a car with a welder on exhaust tubing. I'm a decent welder, but I've never been a good exhaust welder. But thankfully you can't really see except for the important parts of what you need to see. Used a 2x4 to level everything and clamp everything down so these things didn't move around, and they may not be 100% perfect, but I'm pretty happy with them so far. Let's get this off of here and get it started up. First start with the Corsa system back on the car after about a month or so. Got the new exhaust tips done, and I can't wait to hear it and see if it sounds like its old self. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, yes, I know it's very sketchy to lift the car up super duper high to get the factory mufflers out, but believe it or not, I've seen way sketchier pictures on Google and on the forums of people doing it than what I did. But anyways, be safe, and we'll see you on the next one.